see.
But basically, like I was saying though, around 95, I went to go to Bosnia. So I wasn't in Germany anymore.
Is that Eastern Europe, right?
Yeah. I was in Mannheim, Germany. But during that time frame, I was in Mannheim. Well, during that time frame, I had that place in Mannheim. But I was in Bosnia.
Yeah.
My wife left and never came back to Germany. And that's what that was. It made that real for me. Because I knew there was always something in that closet that didn't want her there. I don't know if she ever opened it or anything while I was gone. I just know when I left, she wasn't there when I came back. She came back to the States.
Yeah.
And the only thing I can explain it, to run it back, was I used to mess with a chick, and she was from Louisiana, that knew a little bit of stuff. And like I told you before, she took some powder, a picture of my wife, and a bowl and some wax, and she burned it all up and set it in that closet.
Yeah.
And from that moment, I never felt a desire to go into that closet. But when my wife got there, anytime I would ever go anywhere near that closet, I could hear it pulling. So I never fucked with it anyway. My wife never had a use for that closet, so she never fucked with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I believe in that because, okay, that ain't crazy.
Yes.
You couldn't have put none living in that closet that would have lived that long. And there was no way in or out of it.
And people don't just regularly feel something in the closet, right? I mean, come on.
No. I just knew that was a spot in my house that it wasn't meant for me to mess with because it wasn't for me.
Yeah. What time is it? 5:07. I'll give it 10 more minutes.
But I do know that once the person it was for got there, it became crazier.
People start acting out for no reason.
And it didn't let up until the person it was meant for left. It just never got the person it was meant for.
Yeah.
So I honestly feel like that was a deterrent to keep somebody away that somebody didn't want there. Once it got them out the way, it kind of dissipated on its own. I got one of my homeboys, a dude in my unit from Slidell, Louisiana. When I told him what was going on later on, I told him about it. He drew a half circle with salt around that mug, and he chanted something, and I ain't never had no problem.
Yeah, I don't do.
Cause to be real with you, I thought that was gonna bring my wife back. Cause at the time, I really wanted to be with my wife. I wanted her to come back, and I thought that might have had something to do with it. So when I figured out what was really going on, I was like, okay, maybe he can reverse it, and she might come back. But man, that didn't solve nothing.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. Well, I don't know. Do you believe in God or Allah, or just kind of like not have maybe a preference, you could say?
But you know what they call Santa Maria? It's something like that.
Santa Muerte?
Something along those lines.
Santeria?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Caribbean, Cuban, Puerto Rican.
Because I've heard about that, and I know what
Voodoo.
most people practice down south here in the United States. It's a form of voodoo, but I don't know what.
Santa Muerte, yeah, there's
I don't
Santeria.
I don't know what it's called.
Yeah,
but
Santeria's.
I know my homeboy that solved that problem for me when I was in Germany.
Yeah. That
was from Louisiana. He was doing some form of voodoo, but I don't know what it's called.
Yeah. I mean, he drew a half
and
circle.
Ever since then, it made it my business not to deal with certain type of people that deal with that sort of stuff in the first place.
Yeah, I'm Christian. Like, the only reason I have these things is because I made the mistake of trying to get close to my culture, and just by having these things, I didn't actually use them, right? Just having the owl stuff and the different artifacts there, just to, like, you know, just have that emotional.
It don't necessarily mean. How can I put this? It doesn't always make sense. Because you know you come from a certain culture, and you know those artifacts
Yeah, I knew, but I was
or
stubborn.
part of your culture, it doesn't make sense to just stack them up just because you know they're cultural.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know what they mean.
Yeah, I didn't know what they mean.
And you don't have old people around you that know what you mean to guide you in why you should have this or shouldn't have that.
Yeah.
You don't just get anything because it's cultural to you.
Yeah, I was stubborn. Like I knew these things had demons, but then I was, just at that part where I
With
was.
me,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know anything about. I knew growing up in the Southern Baptist Church that, from what I was told, demons, the devil, and things like that exist. But I ain't never dealt with it until I dealt with what I dealt with in Germany.
Yeah. Sometimes Baptists, most of them, the majority, don't believe in deliverance, casting out demons, or that the devil is actually active, or you have like a spiritual power.
You just pretty much know he exists.
Yeah, that's about it. But
and based on your prayers and your covering, he ain't gonna mess with you.
Yeah, I grew up in
until you get outside of that and deal with something outside of that covering. That's when you find out.
You step into the devil's territory.
That's when the devil get to test your faith.
Yeah.
Okay, I know what you've been taught, but I'm gonna show you around real to see how you're gonna react to it.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't never had an opportunity to mess with you like that because you always been covered and I couldn't get through to your covering. But now that you're outside of it, let me mess with you to let you know I'm real.
Yep.
You've been taught all your life that God is real. Let me show you how real I am too.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. As I grew more in God, because first I was scared of demons and all that stuff, but once I started learning how to use my authority, since I grew up mostly Pentecostal.
Because if you believe in God and believe on His only begotten Son, you had authority to cast out demons.
Yeah, and I've actually done that. Like
a lot of people don't believe it because they'll say it and they'll speak on it, and as long as they never find themselves in a real situation and have to do it, all they do is just some slick stuff that they say just to make themselves feel holier than thou.
Reform people
until they find themselves in a situation where they actually have to do it for real.
Yeah. But after a while, man, I didn't really see much of it in my church growing up, the church that God led me out of, the traditional Pentecostal, very religious in the negative way, where I didn't see people get their demons cast out, and it was just like the demons were there. But, as God trained me by myself, I went to that desert with the witches, and, these witches are known to kill people just being there on the ground, in between the cactuses and flying. I went there to hunt coyotes, not provoking them, but I knew that they were there, and I didn't even see one of them manifest after the first day of recording them. And then they were just neutral.
So you went out seeking this different stuff while you was in Mexico this last
No, not seeking them. I was going hunting. Like, I was just in the desert for the coyotes to shoot them and, eat them, whatever, get the skins. For no rituals, just like, I like hunting, But these witches are known to be there. Like, that's where they are almost everywhere in Mexico.
That's their domain.
But me, I was looking for the coyotes, but I also knew that they were in the way. And I just walked around and just had that trust and faith in God, and they never appeared. They didn't try to do anything to me, not even manifest in the sky or on the floor. So, and I've got rid of almost everything, or literally everything that I had of, whether it was symbols, so I have nothing anymore.
I tell you what, man.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting hot here.
Yeah.
Come on in.
But I gotta go too because of the event.
Let's come in for a hot second. I want